Hey guys, and welcome to another Skin Jobs tutorial. Today I had a few people ask about doing a flag tutorial, so I'm gonna dive right in. This is an American flag, and I've already pre-cut my flag and stuck it onto a piece of clear vinyl or stencil paper, whatever you guys want to call it. Right now I'm outlining it in black. Because I'm using black, of course, there won't be any shadows under this flag. It really doesn't need it, especially not when it's black, of course. But anyway, I'm using Wicked Black, reduced 1:1. I'm going to be using the Wicked Red. It's an opaque, it's not a candy. For the blue, I'm going to be using a candy blue just so I can lay down some color. And okay, as you can see, I'm pulling away the blue section right now. When I'm spraying on the stencil paper, sometimes I get a little overspray. So I use a paintbrush. I don't wet it with anything because usually the overspray or whatever bleeds under this tape is so soft you can literally just brush it away with a brush to clean up my lines before I actually start painting. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take a little bit of candy blue just to get a coat of candy blue. And I do this because you have white stars, but white is reflective of every color that's around it. So I never paint solid white stars because they're on this blue background, which is, the red, white, and blue. This blue, the white is reflecting all of the blue. So I always spray a light blue coat before I spray my white. Now, this flags are made of material. This isn't a flat surface. So you have these rolls and folds and wrinkles. And, as this flag begins to roll, you have darker shades of blue. You have white where the light is going to hit in brighter sections of the highlight. So what you just saw me do was where I see this flag rolling, I spray black. But again, I'm 1:1 on my mixture in black, so it's not very dark. And I'm spraying at about 35 psi, 40 psi, and I'm spraying very lightly. I'm not laying this black down too heavy because I don't want it to appear black. I just need a shadow to show that this thing is rolling. The closer I get to my edge, I'll get a little darker so that I can have a darker effect as if it's actually rolling into a deeper corner. So I'm laying my stars down. I have a star stencil where my highlights are and my shadows, like for the black where the stars come up, I kind of spray darker white to the edge, and I get softer as I get closer to where the shadow is, as if it to give the star rolling effect also. I'll go into more detail about that in another tutorial. Now, right now, I'm coming back in with the white to give me the white highlights of where the light is hitting this flag as it rolls. And I use the candy blue when I'm doing this just so it can control the overspray. Because I already have some paint down, it kind of absorbs the white so that it doesn't overspray everywhere, because white will do that. What I'm using here is just a metallic blue from Createx also. And this I'm using to finalize and back the project as far as the blue section is concerned. So I'm going to back it in black, which also helps to intensify the metallic blue. It really helps to make it pop a little bit, especially when you're working with blue with shadows and highlights. So now I'm going to pull out these sections. I'm going to do the red sections first. But with a flag that's rolling, you really have to be patient because this takes time. Each section needs to have detail and it needs to be taken care of. You can't just pull it all up and freehand it all uh, without having some tools or a stencil or something. But I like to lay flags this way, and if you see how my wave is, I really have a strong curve up and down, up and down. But I've also done the cross line too to separate, and I don't have the lines lining up piece by piece. They're off based on how the wave kind of wraps around or the fold takes place. Because if something's folded over, you're not going to have a straight line from red to red to red. No, it's going to roll under and then roll over and then under. So, in order to get that effect, you have to change the positions of where this red will roll from one section to the next. And the same with the white. And that has to show by adding the highlights and the shadows. So as this piece rolls or folds over, you need a dark shadow to emulate that, which is what I'm doing right now. I'm adding this dark shadow where this piece is rolling or folding over. And now I'm going to come in with a highlight on the top areas where, as it rolls and it creases to the top, there's light that's going to hit it and it's going to catch this particular area. Now, as far as overspray goes on this, my white is reduced 1 to 1, 1 part paint, 1 part reducer, and I'm using a pretty quick dagger stroke. So I do have a little overspray, but for this particular uh, application, it works out to be fine because it kind of looks more like a glow effect once I back it in this wicked red. And now if you look at this section here from the negative space, it already looks and has a nice rolling effect to it. And that's without the color. So once this red hits it, this opaque wicked red will react well with the black and the white, and it'll basically bleed into those two colors to give you a nice highlight and a nice shadow effect, which will in turn make these sections look like they're folding and rolling around each other and creating a wave effect, which is basically what we're looking for, right? So I'll spray on a couple coats. I think 2 on this one on the opaque red, and it's a very very rich and dark color. So I'm gonna back it in black, and it literally the black won't have any effect on the actual outcome of the color because it's such a very very deep opaque red. Thank goodness for this heat gun. This thing dries so quick. And this is some pretty strong stencil paper because it barely buckles or folds under the heat of this heat gun. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the white section. Now, because white is its own highlight, I really don't highlight them much. Basically, because I'm going to get overspray from the black, and the black overspray basically will tone the white background down dramatically. So any white that I get to come through is a plus at this point. So I have to take into account that I want the white to be as crisp as I can get it without uh, overspraying it or killing it with too much black. So I have to be gentle here when I do my edges and my shadows, just so that the overspray doesn't turn the white into a foggy, muddy gray. I mean, in some cases that works, but it depends on what else is around it, what type of light source I could be working with. So I'm taking my time and spraying very lightly, fogging the edges because it's white. And white doesn't need a very, very dark shadow. So I'm using a very quick dagger stroke very lightly on this white section. And just like I did the red, we go piece by piece, section by section, and we want to give each section the respect that it deserves. Otherwise, the whole flag will look like crap. If I did each one of these pieces and I left one without any shadow or any highlight, it'll stand out like a sore thumb. And it's only because it would be the only piece that doesn't look realistic, that doesn't have a highlight in the shadow. It'll look two dimensional, it'll look very flat. So when you're looking at this entire piece that I'm painting right here is probably about 4 inches by 7 inches. And it took me about 17 minutes to paint this entire piece. And that's only because I've already mapped it out. I already know what my colors are going to be, and I have experience. I've done this lots of times. So for me, it looks easy. I'm making it look easy, but trust me, I understand some of your concerns, how this could be difficult. So maybe you don't want to try a complete flag all at once. Maybe you just want to try working with sections. Draw a straight line, cut squares, and pull one square out, and practice highlighting and shadowing those squares, and then start adding curves to them and see how it comes out. But you have to practice, practice, practice in order to get this done the correct way. And even this piece right here, I'm rushing through it. It's definitely not going to be my best work, but it will get the point across so that you can see the steps. So, if you take your time and you work on it, you'll get it. It's not that hard. It's basically just a technique, and techniques are made to be mastered. So, after I did all of my shadows on the white, I sprayed the opaque white to fill in the white squares of this rolling flag. Then I backed it in black, which again is, like I said, 1 to 1, 1 part reducer, 1 part paint. And of course, I mean, I haven't even seen it. You're going to see it for the first time, just like I'm going to see it. Usually, when I'm spraying on a body, I have no choice but to make sure that what I'm working on is coming out the way I need it to, just in case, because sometimes little pieces of tape get left behind and you have to make sure you get them all. And I've sprayed flags and then all of a sudden realized that a very thin slither of tape was left behind and I had to go back and clean it up. But with this piece, since I'm just doing it to give you an example and show you how I do a flag so that you can really, pardon me, you can really get some great looking stuff done. I think I'm going to do a pirate flag with a skull that waves with the skull and crossbones. I think that'll really be a big hit too, and guys will want that. But this is the finished product. Of course, with the overhead lights and the stencil paper, is very reflective and pardon me, and very bright. So of course I'm going to pick this up so you guys can take a closer look at it. And you can see, I mean, to paint something like this, and Yeah, you can see all of the imperfections in there. Like I said, this was just something to give you an example about. But you can also see how it rolls, how each piece separates and has shape and texture. And it's not just laying flat, even though it's on black. You see the waves in the blue, you see how the stars get lighter and darker, and you can see the white highlights on the red surfaces, even on the white surfaces, because of the black and the different shades of gray. You can see it all. So